first question is, what is my life like before knowing Christ? That's kind of a difficult one to answer because I gave my life to Christ when I was 6 years old. What I can say though is there is no way my life would have been as great had I not walked with God. Despite my accent sounding all prim and proper and possibly people imagine, I don't know, very fancy mansions, English mansions, my childhood at times was hard. I was severely bullied. And when I was in elementary school, it was still very close to the English/Dutch war, and being in a strongly Dutch farming community didn't make for me being liked or being popular. And I was so badly bullied at one point in time that my glasses were quite literally broken. And I just know through it all, Jesus was my closest friend. And I wouldn't have made it without him. Certainly not living on a farm. I grew up on a farm far from town, so that also made things lonely. And Jesus was my closest friend, and still is today. I gave my life to Christ when I was 6 years old. My parents used to be big supporters of missionaries and traveling preachers in the 70s, and many times they had tent campaigns, and after one of these tent services the pastor explained the gospel, and I understood that Jesus had given his life to me, for me, and by me understanding that and believing that, I could have him as my forever friend and one day go to heaven when I died. So I literally walked up the aisle during an altar call. My parents were very concerned that I understood. I really did understand. And I would probably say that is one of the reasons I'm a children's ministry director today, because I love the fact that it's possible to know God from when you're very young and not walk away, not lose any time of being part of this exciting journey, and certainly tough journey at times, but having Jesus there for real to hold one's hand every step of the way and carry one through it. The last question is, how do I grow in my faith? Well, I guess the easy and scripted answer would be to say, read your Bible, have devotions every day. I do believe there's power in that, but I have to be honest that even for an adult and even for a children's director, one does not always stick to that. There's always a temptation, especially when you're tired, to want to watch Netflix or do something else, when the best thing is always spending time with Jesus. What I do have to say is that God's grace is always there. I strive to get better and be better at spending time with the Lord. But the other exciting part of God's grace is that he gives us so many chances for do-overs. I believe strongly in obeying God, and I think that that is part of growing with God. My definition of faith is asking God, what does he want me to do? And then I do my best to listen and do what he says, even though at times it's quite terrifying, like coming to America when I was just in my early 20s. But what I have to say is, it is honestly an exciting life walking with God. There's no better way to grow than to do what he says. And it's also the greatest adventure. Because of walking with God, I've gotten to work with people north of Prince Rupert. I've gotten to work with tribes in Africa, and it's also the adventure that brought me to the States and eventually to Austin. I have no regrets serving God, and I'm so grateful that his mercies are new every morning. I'm an open book. If you have any questions or ever want to chat to somebody face to face without shame, my door is open as the Children's Ministry Director at Austin Oaks Church. This is Eileen signing off, saying, walk with God, There's no better way to walk.